Standards for the prevention and management of pressure ulcers. What you need to know. The standards for the prevention and management of pressure ulcers were published in September 2016, and you can find the link to them on this website. The standards aim to ensure that anyone with a pressure ulcer, or at risk of developing one, receives high quality care and support, no matter where they are cared for. This includes care homes. The Care Inspectorate will use these standards when assessing the quality of care delivered by your care home. Do you know how many standards there are for the prevention and management of pressure ulcers? 6. Here is a quick guide to the 6 standards. Standard 1. Leadership and governance. Can your care home demonstrate leadership and commitment to the prevention and management of pressure ulcers? Your care home should have a designated lead person for pressure ulcers. Who this person is will depend on the size of your care home or organisation. For example, larger providers may have a designated lead as well as other staff in each care home, whereas a single provider may have a link nurse lead who links into the local community nurses or a tissue viability nurse. If you notice an area of skin that you think could be a pressure ulcer developing, make sure you know who to inform in your care home, so steps are taken to prevent their skin breaking down further. Your care home should have a system to monitor pressure ulcers. A good example of this is the Pressure Ulcer Safety Cross. More information about the Safety Cross can be found at www.pressureulcer.scot. Your care home should have a system to review and understand why pressure ulcers occur. This will help everyone learn how to prevent pressure ulcers in the future. Standard 2. Education, training and information. In this care home, does the care home provider train staff to prevent and manage pressure ulcers? Is information and support available for your residents and their families? Your care home should be committed to training and be able to demonstrate that staff are skilled to the correct level to prevent and manage pressure ulcers. NHS Education for Scotland's Creating Viable Options training tool could help you identify what levels of training you should have to help prevent and manage pressure ulcers. A link is available on this site. Your residents and their families should be able to access information about pressure ulcers. More information for residents and families can be found here at www.pressureulcer.scot. Standard 3. Assessment of risk for pressure ulcers development. Do you carry out a pressure ulcer risk assessment when a new resident moves into your care home? How does the risk assessment inform the resident's care plan? Are you trained to carry out the risk assessment? If not, ask someone who is trained to do it. It is important that a risk assessment is completed when a new resident moves in. Ideally, this should be done within 8 hours. If you find out that a resident is at risk of developing a pressure ulcer, a care plan should be developed to cover their specific needs. Standard 4. Reassessment of the risk. Do you regularly reassess your resident's risk of developing a pressure ulcer? This is essential to ensure a pressure ulcer doesn't develop. What processes do you have in place for repeating a resident's risk assessment? Carrying out formal and informal regular reassessment is key. You may pick up on changes in conditions such as confusion or skin marking, which can increase the resident's risk of developing a pressure ulcer. You must act upon this and update their care plan to reflect any changes. Remember, when a resident doesn't receive the care outlined in their care plan, it is important to write down why the care plan hasn't been followed. For example, this may be due to a resident's personal choice or their capacity to cooperate or access services. Standard 5. Care planning for prevention and treatment. Do your residents have care plans to prevent and/or manage pressure ulcers? Are they implemented? Each resident's care plan should be tailored to their needs. A care plan should be agreed with each resident or with their representative. This could be their family. The Pressure Ulcer Prevention Plan and the Pressure Ulcer Treatment Plan are 2 different plans. The resident will need a treatment plan if they develop a pressure ulcer. Remember, If a resident is at risk of developing a pressure ulcer, they will still need a prevention plan. Care plans should reflect other contributing factors. These could be nutrition, hydration, continence management, and other conditions which affect skin breakdown and wound healing, such as diabetes. Do you know when and how to refer a resident if a pressure ulcer deteriorates, or if specialist equipment is not available? If you don't know, find out who you should speak to. Standard 6. Assessment, grading, and care planning for identified pressure ulcers. When a pressure ulcer is identified in your care home, is it appropriately assessed, graded, and treated? You should have a clear understanding of what your role and responsibility is when you have to deal with a pressure ulcer. For example, who is responsible for carrying out wound assessments, dressing wounds, developing care plans, delivering and reassessing care? Is it you? Is it a care home nurse or a community nurse? Care home managers are responsible to ensure a formal investigation is carried out for every grade 3 and grade 4 pressure ulcer that occurs. Care home managers are also responsible to promote a safe and just culture where lessons can be learned and used for improving residents' care in the future. The standards will help you improve the care you provide to your residents. More information about the standards and the resources developed as part of the Reducing Pressure Ulcers in Care Homes Improvement Programme can be found here at www.pressureulcer.scot.